Hi, welcome to Easter Eggs. We're looking at Easter stuff as we count down toward the celebration of Easter. Today I want to share with you a word. It's one word. Almost. Almost. It's a sad word in most people's dictionary. Almost. It runs herd with nearly. Next time. If only. Just about. It's a word that is smacked and bulging with missed opportunities, fumbled chances. It's honorable mention, right field, on the bench, runner-up, burnt cookies, almost the one that got away, the sale that nearly closed the deal, the gamble that nearly paid off almost. How many people do you know whose claim to fame is almost? Did I tell you about the time I was almost chosen to be Employee of the Year? Did I tell you about the time I almost hit the lottery? Did I tell you about the time I almost made the big leagues? Did I tell you about the time I was almost chosen for the team? And then there was that catfish that was taller than me, well, almost. As long as there have been people, there have been almost. People who almost won the battle. People who almost climbed the mountain. People who almost found the treasure. He almost performed the greatest act of mercy in all of history. Have you ever thought for a minute how close Pilate was to pardoning Jesus? See, when you read his story, it's wildly compelling. He entered into a conversation with Jesus. He knew that something was wrong. He did his best to interface with the people. And he had the power. He had the choice. He wore the signet ring. The option to free the Son of God was his. And he almost did it. He almost made that choice. Almost. Man, those are 6 ugly letters that you don't want anywhere on your tombstone. He almost got it together. She almost chose not to leave him. They almost tried one more time. We almost worked it out. He almost became a Christian. What is it about almost that makes it such a potent word? Because there's a huge gap between he almost and he did. And we look in Luke chapter 23. A third time, beginning verse 22, a third time he said to the crowd, "What evil has he done? I find no crime in him. I will therefore chastise him and release him." But they were urgent, demanding with loud cries that he should be crucified. And their voices prevailed. And because their voices prevailed, Pilate's pride prevailed. Pilate's fear prevailed. Pilate's power-hungry predisposition failed. Their voices were not the only ones that he heard. See, he had heard the voice of Jesus. Pilate had stood in front of him. 5 times he postponed the decision, hoping to gratify the mob with policies or lashings. And yet Jesus always was sent back to him. 3 times he stood eye to eye with this compelling Nazarene who came to reveal the truth. And what is truth? Pilate asked him at one point. And Jesus' silence was much louder than the crowd's demand. And Pilate didn't listen. He almost got it right. What a tragedy. Almost. It is a word that, if it describes your life and my life, people would just shake their heads. But yet, I have a gnawing feeling that you encounter a lot of people whose lives are defined by that word almost. You work with people who almost know the story of Jesus. You have family members that almost have come to know Christ. You have people who act like they're interested. They almost get it, but they don't. See, Easter is the time where almost becomes such a haunting word. Don't let almost be the word that haunts your life. Don't be caught like Pilate and almost get it right. I often wonder, and we'll never know because we know how it needed to happen. But how crazy would it have been if Pilate would have said, know what, I don't care what you guys are doing. I'm letting him go. Can you imagine the ripple effect and what might happen next in Scripture when that took place? It kind of makes me smile, makes me laugh a little bit. And you know what? If Pilate had any guts, he'd have said it. He'd have done it that way, but he didn't. Yeah. Once again, Pilate almost had the guts to get it right. And there are a lot of people that will be their testimony on that last day, that judgment day. Well, I almost believed. Almost is not good enough. Jesus came so that we could have life, and we have to accept it. Choice is ours. I look forward to joining you next time as we count down to Easter.